optimistic person. I believe in the United States, and I believe that there are so many people. You read all the time about more people getting involved and are concerned citizens and this, that, and the other. So I'm going to be optimistic. I'm very worried. I'm worried about the unconstitutional laws. I'm worried about our president. I have a big problem with him. I don't see how we can live 4 more years with him. I'm very upset with the direction, but at the same time, I see more and more people on the internet getting involved that seem to know what is going on. And, our president has prosecuted more whistleblowers than all the other presidents in the history of this country. But we have got more and more people that are getting involved that know what's going on, and they're spilling their guts because they are Americans. And even if they have to go to prison, or even if they have to do that. So I'm going to be optimistic, but I think that there is an evil force out there that is making the money, and they're trying to keep it. And I think it's not going to be an easy road, and I'm afraid, and I don't know how much time, I got a little more time, but I tell you the problem is, in my opinion, is that you've got China that's got 1.3 billion people. They've got 300 million people in which their standard of living is as high or higher than the United States. And the problem is that the 1 billion people there, every year, they are going to increase what China output is, and it's going to be almost impossible for the United States to stay ahead of them economically. And I'm afraid that we're going to go into a world war, and I don't know when the pieces the things come, it's going to be bad news, but I believe we're going to win in the long run. Chris Brown.
The American people will get what they demand. The problem up to now is so few have been involved. We've got to get folks involved. I was thinking the other day, there's 2 things that we all hear in every family, and I'm sure it's all been said in your family. 2 things that you hear all the time: don't talk religion and don't talk politics. Well, one deals with where you're going to spend eternity. The other deals with whether you're going to live under freedom or tyranny. I'm not suggesting that you go back and talk religion and politics, but I'm suggesting that we all need to think about it. And I think that's one of the reasons why this country has veered off course. It's not been overnight. It's been over a long period of time. We've all had it so good, we forgot how we got where we are. We've got to get back to the basics. And the more people that understand that, the more enabling it will be to turn this country around.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I beg to differ with my opponent, because I do think that we have for too long not talked about religion and politics, and abdicating our responsibility as citizens has gotten us precisely here. We have a duty to talk about our religion and a duty to talk about our politics. We're commanded to, in fact. So because we haven't, we've gotten to this place where now to be a Christian is tantamount to hate speech. I want you to think about that. It's unacceptable. Yet that's where we are in America today. The question specifically was, how do we actually get there if we can't be satisfied, for example, with the that's Congressman Connie Mack, the Mack Penny plan from Florida. His plan would balance the budget theoretically in 5 years. Friends, the Paul Ryan budget seeks to balance the budget in 40 years, and the Democrats have attacked it ruthlessly. I have the scars of $2.5 million in attack ads for their attacks on the Paul Ryan budget. Yet Paul Ryan took an idea, he led with it, and now every Republican presidential candidate has adopted it. He took an idea that some thought was too extreme, he championed it, he advocated for it, he adopted it. I believe if you hold to the strength of your conviction and you communicate it, we can get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I've got one question I gotta ask because it's coming from a young lady. Is Emily here? There's Emily back there. What Emily wants to know, and she's the most important person here, because what you do will affect her and the future of this nation. She wants to know, what are you gonna do if you're elected? Senator Ralph?
Well, I'm sitting here trying to think how we say everything we've already said and do it in a new way.
I bet she wants to know about maybe ice cream and going to Disney World, stuff like that.
But I think the first thing is we have to recognize why we have the problems today that we do. It's because the government has grown well beyond its means. We need to get back to the principles of free enterprise and limited government. And as we've all stated here, we need to get back to the moral and spiritual principles that made this country great in the first place. You know, if we do that, every child is going to have the opportunity for a bright future. You know, every child is going to have the opportunity to live the American dream. If we tap into our energy supply, as we should, we're not going to be paying $4 a gallon gas. It'd be more like $1.50. You know, that money could be saved to help folks. We need to cut the spending. Because if we don't, you know, the interest rate later is going to kill us. You know, the interest rate in inflation is nothing more than a tax. It just comes in a different form. So we've got to get spending under control. We need to have a stable monetary policy that's tied to the value of precious metals, as it was under the Reagan administration, so that we can get a strong dollar again. All those things will help. All those things will help lead to a greater America and a more prosperous America that will be beneficial to every child and every young person coming along today.
Ms. White, we're going to talk in our closing remarks about all the things that we would like to do when, God willing, we get the chance to serve you and protect your future. But I want to talk about one thing in particular, because you are paying a tax on this today. And so is my 7-year-old, and so is my 9-year-old. And that's the cost of illegal immigration. Do you know that the state of North Carolina spends over $1 billion a year educating the children of illegals in this state? We spend over $2.1 billion a year, and that is a tax paid in our classroom, in our courtroom, and our emergency room. I want you to think about that. The state of California is going bankrupt because of how much money in services and fees are in essence stolen by illegals using services. I went to go testify at a hearing in Raleigh. It was one of 4. Do you know, I was crowded out because there were so many illegals there. 5 of them got up and testified before state legislators, and do you know what they said? They said, I don't have papers, and I'm not afraid. Friends, that's not acceptable. We need to secure our borders, and we need a real immigration policy. Thank you.
So what would I do if I went to make it to Washington to solve the problem? Well, I think one thing that would solve it would be if everybody that was running for the U.S. House capped their spending at $3,000. I think it would make it a lot better. And but I do believe that the key for us to move forward is getting money out of politics, and I kind of like that idea. And if y'all want to do it,